Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mint Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. In NFL news, Courtney Cronin reports that Indiana lawmakers unanimously passed a bill that would clear a path for the Bears to build a new stadium in Hammond, Indiana, which is on the northwest side of the state, around 25 minutes south of Soldier Field. Also, multiple sources have reported that Eagles longtime right tackle Lane Johnson will be returning for his 14th season in Philly. Johnson is a two-time first-team All-Pro, three-time second-team All-Pro, and a six-time Pro Bowler. Tennessee got a dominating win last night over Oklahoma, 89-66. Freshman Nate Ament led in scoring yet again as he put up 29 points and 6 boards. Vanderbilt, however, took a tough loss on the road at Missouri, 81-80. Tyler Tanner led the Commodores with 27 points in the game. Vanderbilt and Tennessee will face off on Saturday in Nashville at 1 o'clock. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. As Ross said at the top of the show in his update, are we trending towards the Indiana Bears? So correct me if I'm wrong, Courtney Cronin said that they have cleared a path if the Bears choose to go to Indiana. Is that correct?
I believe so, yes. I don't think any decision has been made yet.
I mean, obviously, a leverage situation, more than likely, try to get whatever they want out of the city of Chicago and their surrounding areas where they may want to build their stadium. But, I don't know about that one. That one is wild to think that Indiana could have two NFL teams and one of them being the Chicago Bears. That is kind of wild to me. I mean, I know that's happened many times across the NFL. I mean, obviously, the Houston Oilers became the Tennessee Titans. Maybe the Chicago Bears do. I mean, how do you change a name as historic as the Chicago Bears, I guess, at this point? I mean, do they become the Indiana Bears? Do they just change everything entirely? I mean, it's kind of wild, Blaine. I mean, kind of jarring to hear because that's the first time I've heard it. I mean, as a guy who has only really known the team as the Chicago Bears and nothing else. I mean, this is just kind of insane to think that they may not be there in Chicago.
Man, that is insane.
I have a hard time wrapping my head around it.
Well, I don't know if we can ever think of a case you use the Titans. That's not the same. That's like if Memphis already had a pro team and then we moved here. I think that's kind of the thing. Hammond, I played in high school against Hammond Knoll. It's really close to. It's probably it's close to Chicago, but it's still like an hour away or so. It's just to have Indiana part of this whole process, I have to believe that.
I guess
this is
Baltimore Colts to Indianapolis Colts.
No, you're still missing a point.
Yeah,
they already have to have a team.
No, I guess that's true. Yeah, since you're moving to the same state.
See, that's what I'm getting at. If Memphis had a pro team and then we, Tennessee Titans, moved here, that's exactly what that would be. And I just can't imagine that. That's got to be a leverage pool there. But you never know, man. That's really interesting. And, man, I could see the suburbs of somewhere in Chicago, but man, that would be devastating. One of the iconic, brands in the National Football League being the Chicago Bears, and we got all the Chicago games there as a youth in Indianapolis because they didn't have the Indianapolis Colts. I was about to say because they were the Baltimore Colts until actually was in middle school. So, which then redefined the whole downtown, a la the Tennessee Titans. Maybe so. But, because downtown was nothing that it is today in Indianapolis.
I guess Rams Chargers, would that somehow fall into that?
Those kind of already existed, though. LA Rams and, San Diego Chargers. but something new. I don't know if we can find the one that's
well, and as something as historic as this, like that's the thing. This is a top.
I just
to me, like
iconic.
it's a top 5. Recognizable
brand. Yeah,
brand.
So that this is man, this is really interesting. I can't envision it. I really can't.
Hopefully, they whatever's going on in Chicago and and the funding and whatever they're trying to do gets worked out, because I'm with you. That would be probably one of the most jarring rebrands or movements that at least I can say that I've seen.
What the property looks like. I mean, so they think the Chicago people are going to drive all the way to Indiana?
I don't know. Do we know where in Indiana, Ross?
So Hammond's the town.
Oh, so that's what you were bringing up. Okay,
I get it. Hammond is the high school.
You had said it, but I didn't know that's where he had said.
Oh, yeah. He said Hammond. That's what made me think of that. Yeah, I played there at Hammond. No, it's a little private school there. It's really like by Gary. Like it's Gary, where Michael Jackson's from. So it's that one there is a tough one for me.
It's not terribly far from Soldier Field as it is, but
is it about like an hour drive?
If you're coming from like north of Chicago or northwest, that is a long drive to get there.
Yeah, so it's in Indiana. Like what would that be like if they put a pro team right there on the edge of Kentucky, Tennessee border? That's kind of like how it would be if they put a pro team here. I mean, man, that is. Oh man!
Well, to the center of Hammond, Indiana, it is technically according to Google Maps, a 34-minute drive.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, Gary. That's all. It's like
But man, just ripping it right out of Chicago. That's kind of crazy. And of course, I mean,
but as he mentioned, parts of it's going to take an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It is that's why I said
that's
fan
from
base.
Soldier Field to the downtown of Hammond. So
what is going on? So they're not. I mean, you guys may not know. So their negotiations as far as the Bears stadium is not going in the right direction here. Do we know? I could talk
I guess
to some
not.
people down there. Good friend of mine covers sports down there, David Ha. He would know. Wow, that would be unbelievable.
It's just it's crazy to me.
They are the third oldest franchise.
Mind you, I'm one that I didn't think that the Houston Oilers was going to move to Tennessee. I thought he was negotiating and leveraging everything known to man. Even that saying we canceled a preseason game because the carpet, I'm called the turf, folded up before the game started, and they said we couldn't play a game.
So this is from Courtney Cronin's reporting.
I'm looking at her app. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
The Bears had been seeking legislation in the state of Illinois that would allow the team to negotiate tax payments with local governing bodies instead of paying full property taxes. The team had previously announced that it would invest $2 billion into the construction of the stadium, but was seeking an estimated $850 million in public funding to cover essential local infrastructure, including roads, sewers, and improvements to adjacent commuter rails around the 326-acre property the team purchased in Arlington Heights, Illinois.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Indiana Bears.
Indiana Bears.
Playing the Indianapolis Colts. Oh, my. That would be crazy.
Oh, my gosh. All right, let's go to Dan, who wants to talk about the Bears. Dan, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Guys, I got a question for you.
Okay.
Where did the New York Giants and the New York Jets already play?
There was that's considered New Jersey.
East Rutherford.
East Rutherford, New Jersey.
It's not considered New Jersey.
Yeah.
It is New Jersey.
It is New Jersey. But they previously existed, so they've kind of coexisted like that for a long time.
Yeah, but it ain't New York City.
No, it's not.
New
No.
Jersey.
I mean,
so.
Yeah, but
that's like San Francisco and Santa Clara.
Right. It's population. This one
That's
here is
still
a tough one for me.
California right there.
Right.
Yeah, this one's here tough. I've been there.
But there is an example. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I would say that I get what he's trying to say is that they obviously don't play in New York, but also are you still going to be called the Chicago Bears? And I guess you can be. You're only 25 minutes south, and I guess what Courtney lays out here is that some of this Wolf Lake site is also kind of in Chicago. It's kind of like a Kansas City, Kansas and Kansas City, Missouri kind of deal. I don't know. I mean, maybe they just keep it and they just do the Chicago
Chicago
Bears.
Out here, it's pretty serious.
It's pretty tough.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's go to Leon. Leon, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
It's Leon Lett.
Hey, no, not him.
Man, why you picking up that phone, man? What are you doing, man?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I had just told the producer, I grew up in Gary, Indiana. So
okay.
Yeah, honestly, that site that they're talking about in Hammond is actually closer to Soldier Field than Arlington Heights is. Okay. And I do understand the aspect of it being in a different state, but it is literally right there on the borderline. Okay. Plus, there is a form of public transit that runs from Northwest Indiana to downtown Chicago.
Oh, great insight on that. Line. Yes.
So you do have that as well. I mean, for those that's coming on the other side of Chicago, they could always park and then just catch that train up there. Personally, even though I grew up in Northwest Indiana, I'm kind of like most people. The Bears should just stay in Chicago, but it would be a nice economic boost for Indiana, and it'll still be the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. Hey, how close do you know where Hammond Knoll is? I played there at that high school. Is that close to where in Hammond is that compared to where they're trying to put the stadium?
I don't know the exact location. We always called it Bishop Knoll. I know
it was Bishop Knoll back in the day. Yes, that's the same school.
Yeah. Yep. It was Bishop Knoll because we played them. I went to Roosevelt and Gary, so we played them in basketball. Yes, sir. And but I don't know exactly where in Hammond it is because I never actually went to their school. Even when I played football, we never played them in football. So I don't know the exact location, but I've heard about the development where they want to put it at. It seemed like it could be a good idea, but I know a lot of Chicago fans may not want to support that.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Leon, for the insight. That's some good insight.
No doubt. With the transit and all of that.
Okay, I can say this because someone put this in the chat thanks to James Neeson in the chat, the F&M Bank chat, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook Live. The site, he told me that someone had taken a picture from the site in Hammond.
So the person on the chat has also got your phone?
No, he didn't. But he didn't. He sent me to a Twitter account that had it. Sorry.
I got you. All right.
And you can see the Chicago skyline.
Looks nice. Oh, yeah, with the water?
So you can see the Chicago skyline from the site, and then there is water there as well.
But we all know that it's not quite as close as that. But I mean,
yeah. But I mean, it is closer than Arlington Heights, like Leon just said. Arlington Heights is about 11 miles further than from the Soldier Field.
But I think that what he's missing here, and I don't agree with that, is that those already coexisted, regardless of the definition. Who and what team has in the last 20 to 30 years, let's just make it broad, moved their organization to another state and another NFL team was there in the last 30 years? Another NFL team was in that state. I'm sure it has to happen, right?
Yeah, because but to your point, because I brought it up earlier, well, I mean, like San Diego was already in that state.
Right, they were already there.
And the Rams have already been there prior. Right. So, I mean, I don't know the full
a little bit different.
L.A., California, and California's a lot bigger too,
they
right?
Kept going back and forth. Even the Raiders.
How many Indianas can you fit in California?
They were L.A. Raiders, Oakland Raiders. He kept going back and forth. So I if it already coexisted, it kind of, I think they've already
Houston
learned how to
and
deal
Dallas.
With it. Oh man, Dallas is
because Houston popped up, but I mean, again,
Texas is the biggest state. It's like a 5-hour drive.
Right, so like that doesn't really count. Jacksonville,
what would have been close to
so
San
far
Antonio
north.
Had a team, and the Oilers had a team. That's kind of.
Jacksonville and Tampa Bay are 3 hours and 11 minutes away.
Okay, but.
So that would probably be but that's also a new franchise, not a franchise moving
that already existed.
So that would be the one thing that would
be
different. Right.
Chicago Bears.
Because I mean, the Tampa Bay and Jacksonville are not iconic, regardless of recent success for either of them.
Oh, this is where we getting to, man. This is tough sledding here, man.
Yeah. So that would be, I mean, how close is Baltimore and Washington, D.C.? The Cleveland Browns.
I think they have a monorail or, train there that goes to, like even when I was in Philly, we played the Giants and Washington, and we took this thing would fly with the wind on the train. I thought it was so cool.
Okay, that would be the one. That would be the closest one. The Cleveland Browns leaving Cleveland to go to Baltimore, where the Washington Commanders, which they're now known, 1 hour drive.
How long ago was that?
Oh, my gosh.
1990. I have no idea. I'm going to guess 96. I'm probably wrong.
That would be
97.
1995.
Oh!
Or that's when he announced. So they did move the 1996 season.
So for reference to the Bengals to the Browns currently is a 3.5 hour drive, Cincinnati, Cleveland.
But they already coexisted.
I know. But also Indianapolis to Hammond is only 2.5 hours.
Yeah, because
an hour shorter.
It's close to Chicago.
Yeah, so that would be I believe the most recent example would be 95. The Browns to the Ravens in 1995. And that's 40 years ago. Am I doing my math there right?
Oh, no.
I don't know if I am or not.
Yeah. We'll go with it.
Yeah.
Well, it's over 30 years.
Yeah. So that would be the most recent example because we're talking about an iconic franchise. Cleveland Browns back then, obviously, huge history.
Oh, yeah.
Moved to a state that they're 1 hour away from basically the other team that is also an iconic franchise.
Yeah, I think
that would be the closest to me that I could think of.
That was close to 40 years ago. Wow. Dang, I can't. Man. And the Bears are doing well. So you think Caleb Williams, man, they get on the uptick, aren't they? I mean, dang, you can't move the team now. What? So what are they going to do with the stadium? Is the stadium state-owned? So why can't they just modernize it and enclose it or something? I don't know. Maybe they just don't like the location?
I don't know.
Man, they have those pillars and beams on the out. Man, that thing is nice, man. Heaney. That's a shame.
That is a shame. That is a shame.
They end up moving that, man. Dang.
So that would be 30 years ago as I do my math in my head.
31.
Well, 30.
26.
Well, 31 when it was announced, but 30 when they actually played. So that would be right there. So that would be the closest to what we're all describing. Yeah. That's kind of crazy. All right, coming up next, we'll go to more of your phones, 615-737-1045. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone.
Naturally, the new year has arrived and passed, and I'm still not in the gym. I need some help. Well, the approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. We make sure all patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. They use only U.S.-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always matter. As well as Edge walks you through the process, guiding your treatment plan, answering your questions, and supporting you along the way. You also get to enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining that muscle mass that you have accumulated. As well as Edge always uses the lowest effective doses to make sure that you are resetting your metabolic flexibility and not starving yourself. You get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all your wellness questions at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or you can check them out online at edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. And let's just go straight to the phones. We've got some phone calls waiting. 615-737-1045. Jerry, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I got a two-part question for you. Let me turn this radio off. Especially on my...
Turn the radio down.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a two-part question. I'm sure y'all done been through this a dozen times, over and over. But I just want to make a point. And why is it that the Grizzlies in Memphis are called the Grizzlies? I haven't saw a grizzly bear in White Bluff in probably 2 years. Yeah. I mean, if I did, I'd shout it. I'd shout that something. I mean,
Got him a gun.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have ran.
We're not that type of country around here to be hunting grizzly bears, you know.
Okay.
And this is went on and on and on and on. They should be the blues, guitar blues, BB blues or whatever, you know. And my other thing is, you know, why is the Predators not shown on local TV? And I know y'all probably have an answer for that. It's all in contract thing. They can't do that and all, yeah. But they got to have full stadiums every night to play. It ain't like they got to have sell-out stadiums. The Titans have sell-out stadiums, and they're open to the public. You can watch it on local TV. And I've often wondered why the Predators can't show their product they have on just antenna local TV. I'll hang out and listen to y'all. I love your show. I appreciate you, and I'll let you go.
All right, thanks, Jerry. I mean, I'm with Jerry on this. This whole Bally Sports, anytime trying to watch sports nowadays feels like you have to have 15 different apps to even try to find even the Predators or even the Grizzlies if you want to watch the Grizzlies here in Nashville. It's just been kind of crazy. So other than that, it's just like, you know, it should be showing it on local TV. Don't understand why it's not. I agree with Jerry, and it all comes down to dollars and cents when it's all said and done.
Yeah. What about your Grizz, though? I mean, what the Grizzlies? I mean, you know all about Memphis. Why are the Grizzlies?
There is zero wild population.
He said he would shoot the grizzly bear if he saw one.
Yeah. But there are three in the zoo. Just wants to say that there are three in the zoo. In Memphis. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cochise, Yukon, and Elsie.
Oh, that's their name there?
Yeah.
Very good.
But, I mean,
do you remember the research when they moved? How they came up with that?
I do not remember. I don't remember. But, I mean, like, Memphis Grizzlies just kind of rolls off the tongue anyway, so a little bit of alliteration.
Rolls together.
But, yeah, there is no Grizzly Bears.
There's no tie.
There's no real ties or anything.
But they've always been the Grizzlies,
Yeah, but
right?
they've always been the Grizzlies. You know, Vancouver Grizzlies, obviously, but, like...
Oh, is that why? Because they moved from Vancouver?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why. They just kept the name.
Yeah, they just kept the name. But, I mean, like...
but they could have
rebranded,
Yeah, they could.
you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
There you go.
Good question.
Good question from Jerry. All right, let's go to Nate in Omaha. Nate, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Hey, hi, guys. How y'all doing?
Doing good. How are you?
What's going on, Nate?
Why we can't be the Nashville Titans, man? Why we got to be Tennessee Titans?
Alliteration.
That was a big debate, too. I forgot how they
Yeah,
came
why we
down
can't just be the
with,
Nashville Titans, man? I don't get it. I mean,
because they wanted to be part of the whole state. I think that was
but that was when Nashville wasn't a major city, though. Nashville is a major city now.
Well, you want to go back and change it? We want to change it now with the new uniforms and stuff?
Yeah, them new uniforms suck, man. Hey, but anyway, I want to ask you guys, what is the criteria for the Pro Football Hall of Fame? Like in college, you had to be the first team All-American. I don't understand, because they talking about Kirk Cousins and Phillip Rivers getting in. I'm like, why ain't Jimmy Smith getting no consideration? Like, I grew up in the same hometown as Jimmy Smith played with the Jaguars. And for a span of 3 or 4 years, he probably was the best receiver in the game, man. And people are just talking about Kirk Cousins, man. Kirk Cousins have made $300 million for one play. I think Ryan Tannehill was better than Kirk Cousins, in my personal opinion. I just want to get you guys' opinion. Thanks for taking my call, man.
Hey, thanks, Nate. I will say this. Let's start with the Tennessee Titans thing. First off, alliteration, easy branding. But at the time, they're wanting to brand to the whole state. And in a state like Tennessee, where it's 3 hours to Memphis and 3 hours to Knoxville, it makes sense. And basically north to north, north and south is very small as well. Basically, you can get anywhere in 3 hours. Why would you not want to brand to the whole state? That's how I would put it.
Yeah, I already said branding for the whole state, so I don't know where you want me to go there.
With the Hall of Fame stuff, I don't know if there's like a certain criteria other than how many years you have to be out of the league, before you can even be on the ballot. But let me ask you this. I saw Deion Sanders say this on a podcast, Kevin Clark's podcast on Super Bowl week. And he said that only Hall of Fame players should vote on who gets into the Hall of Fame. What do you think about that?
That's his opinion. That's what he thought. I don't know about that one. But Jimmy Smith, go to his question, Jimmy Smith should be in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. I've said that before. And Fred Taylor. They were exceptional players. I think that's where it gets missed in the boat, whether you're in a good market, big market, medium market. Some of these guys, being that I played against them, I feel like I have a little insight. Maybe I should be on the ballot as far as determine who should get in. Maybe I would do that one. Because, sometimes everybody's looking at the stats, and that's not exactly how it all works. How about this? If you guys want to talk about stats, Deion, who everybody says is the best to ever play, right? Go check his stats out compared to Rod Woodson. Just look at the stats.
I'll do it.
And then you tell me after I finish this part. I think stats is a tiebreaker. Jimmy Smith, we game plan to stop him. We would take 2 and 3 players, and sometimes he still caught the ball. And I'm not just talking catching a curl route. I'm talking about he catching for a touchdown. So, that's when Now, we game plan to stop him and contain him, and he still did halfway decent. Let's say he finished with 80 yards or whatever it was. Well, if we didn't do that, he would have had 150 yards. So, I think he is like 5th all-time for the most 1,000 yards in a season as a receiver. He's somewhere up there high. And, so I just think, that part of the equation, you can't be, especially when you're an offensive guy, statistically, you're determined if guy is a Hall of Fame player. He was the elite for a period of time, as the caller said, maybe even a little bit longer than that. So him and Fred Taylor, to me, are exceptional players amongst elite players, and they were really good. They should both be in, to be honest. And it's easy for me to pick them out of because those are the ones I felt like, man, every time we played them, like we better be at our best, and that may not still be good enough.
Right.
Yeah, that's what's different. So I don't know all the Hall of Fame and how they determine, who's in and who's not.
I know every player that gets brought up to a vote has a person that speaks on their behalf and all that.
From each that,
and I don't know how well those guys really debate or put forth their case or anything. I would love to watch one to see what it looks like.
Never make that.
Yeah, I mean they don't even like that it's out there.
But I would say
Bill Belichick didn't.
I would say there's tiers to guys getting in. That's why guys who are in the Hall of Fame would say first ballot, second ballot, third ballot. That matters to them because they're on that level of playing. So for T.O., who should be first ballot in my eyes, went third ballot. So I think for whatever reason they wanted to, because he was a crybaby. I don't know. He never harmed anybody. He never got in trouble. He never got arrested. Those things matter. And I thought he was maybe he was, a bad guy to some media people, but that's not what it's supposed to be about.
Right.
But as far as a person, he never got in trouble, but everybody wants to attach him to the guys who were, let's say, rabble rousers in the community and got arrested a time or two, right?
Right.
He didn't. He did not. He just went into his driveway and started lifting weights. Said, I'm a holdout. Really? I mean, man, do you know how viral that would go right now?
Yeah.
It's
I mean, are they going to start taking into account, Twitter accounts for Hall of Fame later on in the future? Because, I mean, like A.J. Brown, I'm not saying that he's a Hall of Fame player, but let's say he gets into the Hall of Fame or gets up to the Hall of Fame.
They definitely can hold some things against him. I'm sorry. He's going to get punished.
Someone's going to have all the screenshots of all the things that he's deleted over his time.
Oh, man.
Antonio Brown, he might not get in off the field. He's certainly deserving as a player.
As a player.
Yeah, statistically, he's first ballot, no doubt.
Yeah.
But he went on for a window there, a 3 or 4 year window there where he was the best in the NFL.
Well, there's people talking about Adrian Peterson and the gambling issues and the money issues, then the thing that happened with the kid a long time ago. But on the field, I mean, Hall of Famer. And I'll be very interested to see how social media plays a factor into it later on down the road with these selections. It shouldn't. But it
depends because
I guess it depends on what it is,
right?
But.
Yeah, because there's some integrity part of this, and that they do value really high. So it will be interesting with Adrian Peterson with some of the things that happen. He may get pushed to second ballot when we all know he was first ballot type of player. But meanwhile, what was the stats with Rod Woodson?
I got him right here. You ready?
Who was better?
If I were objectively looking at this,
okay, not knowing any player,
and I was just looking at the stats, I would say that Rod Woodson was the better player.
Well, where is it? What did you say?
So look at it this way. So approximate value is something that Pro Football Reference, which is like the just standard stat kind of site. It's not like PFF or anything. It has a value associated to what kind of value does the particular player bring to a team over his career. 192 points for Rod Woodson, 163 for Deion Sanders. Now, he has more punt return yards and more kick return yards, talking about Rod Woodson. But Deion Sanders has more touchdowns in those two categories. Now, interceptions, 71 for Rod Woodson, 53 for Deion Sanders. Interception, pick sixes, 12 for Rod Woodson, 9 for Deion Sanders. Sacks, 13 and a half sacks for Rod Woodson, 1 for Deion Sanders. Solo tackles. And this is where I think you should really be making the case for Rod Woodson as well. 1,050 solo tackles, 492 for Deion Sanders. Forced fumbles, 18. 10 for Rod Woodson, 10 for Sanders. Fumble recoveries, 32. Fumble recoveries for Rod Woodson, 14 for Deion Sanders. Both are in the Hall of Fame. Deion Sanders has 2 championships. Rod Woodson has 1. Pro Bowl, 11 Pro Bowls for Rod Woodson, 8 for Deion Sanders. All pros, 8 for Deion Sanders, 7 for Rod Woodson. And they both have have at least one AP Defensive Player of the Year.
Well, how many years did each play?
Now, that would be the difference. There's 188 games for Deion Sanders. This doesn't have the seasons. It doesn't have the seasons.
Right, but
I will say 188 games for Deion Sanders, 238 games for Rod Woodson. The years that they played, Deion Sanders, 89 to 2005, 87 to 2003 for Rod Woodson. They both started at age 22 and ended at age 38.
And Deion took like a year or two off and came back.
Yeah. And there was some injuries, too, because he had injuries.
Yeah, well, Rod tore his ACL.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Within a season and came back in the season. Played in the Super Bowl with a torn ACL. Reason why I bring that up, because when I was growing up, Rod Woodson was the better all-around player. I didn't never know their stats.
14 seasons to 17 seasons.
And Rod got to play actually safety. That's why those tackle numbers are where they're at, where Deion stayed at corner. When he eventually moved. But they kind of modeled each other's path going to the 49ers and then another team, the Ravens. And So it's interesting, but everybody thinks, Deion was the best.
Yeah.
Right?
Social media, I think.
Yeah, I don't know that. I would say I would lean more towards Rod Woodson. He was the better
looking at the stats,
player.
right? You would say.
Player.
But both in the Hall of Fame, so there you go.
Yeah, they're elite.
Let's go to Buston. Buston, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good. How are you?
Great.
I'm about to go into the dentist, so doing about as well as I can. Just a little thought starter for y'all, since yesterday we kind of talked about Jeremiah Love and possibility of him going to the Titans. Now, I know good players go and good players go, and that's ultimately the right decision. But what I want to say here is running backs drafted in the top 5 typically don't have the greatest history outside of a certain guys. I actually went and did some research yesterday to kind of look at it just to see, hey, what's it look like? So I took the last running backs taken in the top 5 over the last 20 years, because that's, I guess, the sample size that we could say long enough. The league's changed, everything like that. Got Reggie Bush, Darren McFadden, Trent Richardson, Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, and Saquon Barkley. I'd say out of those 6 guys,
where's B.J. Robinson? Bijan Robinson? Wasn't he the 5th pick?
I believe was number 8.
Oh, I thought he was the 5th pick of the draft. No?
I believe Bijan was number 8.
Okay, you're right. Okay.
Double check that. But what I'm trying to say here is, if you take those 5 guys, and it's not to say don't take Jeremiah Love, because I'm okay with a good player wherever he's taken.
Did you say the last 10 drafts?
The last 10 drafts.
And you used Trent Richardson? Did I hear Trent Richardson's name in there?
This would be the last 20 drafts.
Yeah, that would be the last 20 drafts. I was about to say he was drafted in 2012.
Right. Yeah. That's why I said like Reggie Bush, Darren McFadden, Trent Richardson, them guys like that. If we want to go in the last 10, then we'd start Ezekiel Elliott, Leonard Fournette, and Saquon Barkley. Those are the only 3 taken within the top 5 in the last 10, I believe. Okay. I could be wrong on that. So out of those maybe 6 guys, all were drafted either, number 2 or number 4, Trent Richardson, number 3. We'd say he's a bust. And I don't want to start rambling on here, but for the importance of the position, the running back is not necessarily the best pick inside the top 5. With the hit rate of those guys being maybe 2, I'll give you Ezekiel Elliott being good to great, with only maybe 2 being of that elite caliber. Now, you can make an argument for Leonard Fournette, but again, just a thought starter, something I'd like to throw out there when talking about this whole Jeremiah Love, pick him where you pick him or pick an edge, because I'm on Team David Bailey. Started as a Baniac, but now I'm a Bailey boy. I'll hang up and listen. Thank y'all for taking my call.
Thanks, Buston. I talked about this on a solo show when you were off. I actually went through and we actually talked about Jeremiah Love extensively. And I feel like he left some names off there. So Todd Gurley, Ezekiel Elliott, Christian McCaffrey.
Well, he said Elliott.
Yeah, I knew he said Elliott, but I'm just going through what I have.
Yeah.
He didn't say McCaffrey?
No.
He didn't say McCaffrey. And Saquon Barkley. Now these may be, running backs in the top 10, but still, what's the difference between 4 and 6, right? Like when you're really talking about. And to break it all down, Jeremiah Love was either number 1 or number 2 in every statistical category when you compare those guys as prospects. His final year versus their final year, he was either number 1 or number 2. And I would say, and that includes Bijan Robinson. So if you have the chance to get Bijan Robinson, Saquon Barkley, CMC, Ezekiel Elliott, or even Todd Gurley, those are 5 guys that are – people forget how good Todd Gurley was, and his thing was injury issues. Mm-hmm. Leonard Fournette's basically the polar bear in there, the unicorn in that one, the outlier. Because, he was fine, and he was very good in college, but he was probably a guy that didn't live up to the expectations. So just want to throw out there that – and we'll talk about a lot more about Jeremiah Love as we get closer to the draft. Just want to throw out there that Love is statistically his final year of college versus those guys' final year of college is either number 1 or a close number 2 in almost every statistical category. He is the best. He's, besides Caleb Downs, the best prospect in this draft. Just saying.
Oh, well, that's not a debate to really.
Yeah.
I think he's arguing that the value of the running back position in the National Football League is not valued as high as a pass rusher. That's really the debate. as far as where their prospects guys, just because you're the number one player coming out, you don't get drafted number one every time because quarterbacks always take a front row seat of that. So that's where it's going to be conversations. Do you take the best player on the board or do you take your best player at position of need? And that is all about, there's no debate where Love should be in the draft as far as his ranking in Caleb Downs. But are you afforded to go get the best player in the draft with number 4?
And that's what you got to wait for free agency to really know.
You think the Titans can afford to do that?
We'll see after free agency. Because, I mean, they may be able to, right? They may be able to fill some holes with their cap space and fill some needs, and maybe they can truly approach the draft and best player available. As the roster sits right now, with Tony Pollard, Tyjae Spears, Khalil Mullins, and the massive holes you have at corner, edge, wide receivers, stuff like that, no. But I don't know what free agency is going to really bring, because I will say this. It's fairly easy to fix the defense this year because free agency is loaded with good to great defensive talent. And I think that the draft is loaded with really good talent at positions of need. So it may be easier to fix free agency in the draft and may be able to be easier to fix the defense this year. Offense may be a little bit lagging roster-wise or talent-wise. But again, I just have to see how free agency is going to look before, I truly say that, right now as it sits, though, I would agree that edge is a way more pressing need than running back. Mm-hmm. So I would agree with that. Yeah. Same with safety.
Is there one or two elite running backs, right, coming out? Maybe just one?
Just one.
Just Love?
Just Love. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of day 3 guys, and listen, you can always find a day 3 guy that's a gem and all that kind of stuff, but they may never be Jeremiah Love. Well, let's talk more about it after when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
There are a lot of things Americans split 50-50 on. Politics, working from home versus the office, or coffee versus tea. But there's one thing we all agree on. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. Taking your car in for repairs can be complicated. Your repair is only as good as the person under the hood working on your vehicle. And most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is knowledge issue, not someone trying to rip you the freak off, right? Yes, and a lot of techs are not properly trained. So they end up guessing what to do, and that causes delays in getting your vehicle back or repeat visits for the same freaking issue. For around a quarter century, let's say, Eurofix has done things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-rinse inspection so you know what's going on before we start the work. And Eurofix pays its technicians more than any other company does to attract the best and the brightest talent around. And Eurofix still fixes European vehicles at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available as well. Locally owned, family run, with 5 locations and more to come. And all you have to do is just go online and check them out at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We'll pick up our Jeremiah Love conversation, but we've had Blake sitting on the line for about 22 minutes, so we got to get to Blake. Blake in Nashville, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Hey, man, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
What's going on?
I just wanted to talk about some college hoops. The Vandy-Tennessee game coming up on Saturday. You know, Tennessee blew out, I think they blew out Oklahoma last night, and then Vanderbilt, they lost by 1. Do y'all see any of these teams making a far run in the tournament, and who do y'all think is going to win on Saturday? Thank y'all for taking my call.
Thanks. I mean, I could see both of these guys or both these teams making some runs in the SEC tournament, which eventually gets them into better seeding into the March Madness tournament. The Commodores got to start being able to rebound on defense. They have been terrible defensive rebounding, and for this game coming up, the Volunteers dominate on the offensive glass. They are averaging a whopping 15.8 offensive rebounds per game, which is insane. So I think rebounding can get you pretty far when the tournaments come around. So I would say that, and listen, Rick Barnes has been in the tournament a lot. You know, I know he doesn't go very, very far, but I mean, he can at least make some waves in the tournament.
Yeah, I would say both teams are capable of, obviously, I think, having good seasons. I was at the actual Oklahoma game for Vanderbilt. Watched that game. They got down by 20 and came back and ended up losing by 1. Oklahoma played really well, especially, from the field. Their shooting percentage. And the issue of rebounding was big in that game. So I would say rebounding. Turner was a little off, too, a little bit. But, this game coming up this weekend, I think it's going to be an interesting battle. I want to say because it's at Vandy, I want to give them the nod, but sometimes in these rivalry games like this in state, it doesn't really matter. This is a tough one here. I think Vandy can get them. I think at home, somehow, some way, Tennessee just always, I don't know if it's the way the court situated or something. I don't know. Right. They always play weird there. I don't know what it is. It could be the atmosphere. It's going to be rough because then it's probably going to be a lot of UT fans there as well. But I love the battle there in state, in-house. Now that Vandy is at least, pushing the envelope. But, I would say Tennessee has more talent. There's no doubt about it, especially with their bigs. Mm-hmm. So that will be where if they win, that'd probably be where they win.
Of course, last night, 23-point victory, as you pointed out, over the Oklahoma Sooners for Tennessee, who defeated the Vanderbilt just a few weeks ago, like you said, by 1 point. In that matchup, or from last night, the Volunteers brought down 15 offensive rebounds, holding Oklahoma to just 13 rebounds off the defensive glass. For comparison, the Sooners had 20 defensive rebounds, and Vanderbilt secured just 12 rebounds on the offensive end of the court. So rebounds were kind of a big difference there. Yeah,
the Vandy didn't play very well against Oklahoma. Right off the bat. And then coming out of halftime, Oklahoma shot well from the field still, and they were down by, I want to say, 14 at half or something. It was they were controlling the game. I was actually a little shocked. Watching them. It's almost like they thought they just knew they were going to show up and that they were going to beat Oklahoma, and Oklahoma showed. And then you look at the records of Oklahoma that was just last week. Oklahoma, I don't know if they even had a winning record at the time. Maybe, but records don't matter. Rebounds and making shots matter.
Yeah.
So, man. And basketball is an interesting, sport in itself. Is you can have a great shooting night. It doesn't matter how much defense you're playing and how well you rebound. If you dropping buckets, you get on fire, it could just change everything. But it's just like anything else. Get some turnovers, get hot, get into a flow, in a rhythm.
Volunteers and the number 19 Commodores are scheduled to tip off at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time this coming Saturday. And it'll be live on ESPN. All right, coming up next, we'll talk more about the best player available argument, because there is a team recently that took a running back over possibly a need. And we'll talk about if that worked out for them. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Hey, it's Zach Lyons. If you wear glasses, you already know the struggle. I'm constantly looking for them, waking up blind without them, knocking them off the nightstand, and don't even get me started on vacations. Swimming, forget it. Fogging up, smudges, scratches, my whole day revolves around these things so that I can see. And the truth is, I've been dealing with blurry vision for years. Glasses help, but they're also a hassle. And lately, I've been seriously thinking there has to be a better way. That's when I started hearing from colleagues here at Cumulus who had vision correction done by Dr. Horn at Vision for Life, and every single one of them said the same thing. They wish they'd done it sooner. So I did my homework, read the reviews, and decided it was time. I'm going to have my vision corrected by Dr. Horn, and I'll walk you guys through the experience step by step before, during, and after. If you're tired of dealing with glasses, contacts, or blurry vision, don't keep putting it off. Call Vision for Life at 615-436-2020 or visit visionforlife.com to schedule your consultation. I'll keep you posted, and trust me, I'm excited to finally see clearly.
There are a lot of things Americans split 50-50 on. Politics, working from home versus the office, or coffee versus tea. But there's one thing we all agree on. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. Taking your car in for repairs can be complicated. Your repair is only as good as the person under the hood working on your vehicle. And most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is knowledge issue, not someone trying to rip you the freak off, right? Yes, and a lot of techs are not properly trained. So they end up guessing what to do, and that causes delays in getting your vehicle back or repeat visits for the same freaking issue. For around a quarter century, let's say, Eurofix has done things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-rinse inspection so you know what's going on before we start the work. And Eurofix pays its technicians more than any other company does to attract the best and the brightest talent around. And Eurofix still fixes European vehicles at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available as well. Locally owned, family run, with 5 locations and more to come. And all you have to do is just go online and check them out at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Good afternoon from the Circus Sports at the Mid-Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. In NFL news, Courtney Cronin reports that Indiana lawmakers unanimously passed a bill that would clear a path for the Bears to build a new stadium in Hammond, Indiana, which is on the northwest side of the state, around 30 minutes south of Soldier Field. Also, multiple sources have reported that Eagles longtime right tackle Lane Johnson will be returning for his 14th season in Philly. Johnson is a two-time first-team All-Pro, three-time second-team All-Pro, and six-time Pro Bowler. Tennessee got a dominating win last night over Oklahoma, 89-66. Freshman Nate Ament led in scoring yet again, putting up 29 points and 6 boards. Vanderbilt, however, took a tough loss on the road at Missouri, 81-80. Tyler Tanner led the Commodores with 27 points in the game. Vanderbilt and Tennessee will face off on Saturday in Nashville. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news and once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. We had a caller call in earlier this afternoon. His name was Bustin. He was talking about Jeremiah Love, and it kind of got us down the path of, best player available, filling holes, filling needs, all that kind of stuff in the draft. And here would be a cautionary tale about drafting best player available when you failed to fill needs in free agency. The 2023 season, the Atlanta Falcons. So we're going to Bijan Robinson, which Bijan Robinson was drafted 8th, not 4th. I know there's a difference there, but let's call it like it is. They went best player available with Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson, when used, has been a really good player. No denying that. But it hasn't really resulted much from, being a 7-10 team for the most part during Bijan Robinson's career. And that year, the Falcons had the second most cap space heading into the offseason. They had needs, desperate needs, at defensive end or defensive line, whatever you could, pass rusher, because they've always been needing some pass rushers lately. Their cornerbacks, they had A.J. Terrell, but, the rest of their cornerbacks were, pretty much nobodies comparatively. And they went out and didn't really fill either of those needs in free agency. And then they went and drafted best player available. So that would be a good example of a cautionary tale of doing best player available when you didn't fill any kind of holes in free agency. So that is where, best player available sounds all well and good in theory, to your point, Blaine. But until we see free agency, you just can't go all blindfolded, like you said, and just pick best player available and hope it turns out all right, because that's a pretty good example. Running back, they didn't fill the needs in free agency, failed to fill the needs in the draft, and they're still kind of the same old Falcons.
Yeah, I think the determination, if you take an elite player at any position outside of the premium positions in the National Football League, pass rusher, quarterback, those tackle, is where is your team situated? And when I say that, that means, is this a luxury or is this a necessity? See, so that's the difference. And the Titans are not in a position, in my eyes, that they, in a position of luxury. Like, okay, the Seattle Seahawks are in a position of luxury. We can afford to take a pick. Even if, who knows, they may move up to 10 to get them. You have no idea. Yeah, and they have the luxury to do that. So you just never know how the draft may fall. And the Titans trade back and they maybe still get Love. I don't know. You just never know. And then, okay, well, what are we going to do with Pollard and all the other Spears and everybody else on the team? Or are you already trading him? Or are you releasing him? to do that, then I would say it's harder to say that it's not justified,
You're right.
Over a premium position like edge or maybe even receiver. So I think it's a great debate because sometimes you can get a running back that is super special. But you look over time, sometimes Saquon's not on the original team he was with. Reggie Bush or whoever else you name. Bijan is kind of impacted now, but hasn't equate to them getting over
Christian
the hump.
McCaffrey's not on his first team.
Right, which was the Panthers. So it just,
in fact, most of those guys didn't stay with their first team.
It's a lot there for running back. I think, as much as I love the talent, I would probably have to pass on one of those guys that are probably pass rusher. I don't know. I wouldn't be opposed to even a wide receiver, but, man, running back, that's a tough one. You think our line is in position that we got a great line? And then the only reason why I'm saying this is because when you came up with the stats, that Dayball ran the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Then do we go trade Pollard to somebody? I don't know. And then now we're opening for a special running back, Love, to, make a difference on that we're going to run the ball maybe 60% of the time and throw the ball 40% if you look over a whole season. And so that could be an option. I don't know what kind of, conversations they're having about Love, let alone how much they feel like they want to run the football to pass.
2 of the 4 seasons Brian Daboll coached at New York, he was in the top 10 in rush attempts, yards, and touchdowns.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about, those stats there.
But in those were 2 of the 4, he was in that. With his very first one when he had Saquon Barkley, obviously, and Daniel Jones, obviously, too. That was the year that he ended up getting paid after that. And then, obviously, this last year.
Which he had good backs. So that goes right into my premise is you can get a good quality back from 2 to 4. 2 second round to the 4th round.
Well, I mean, even, Derrick Henry, second round pick.
Right.
Exactly. Kyron Williams, I think it was a 5th or 4th round pick. He's the running back from L.A. Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet are, I think, 4th and 5th round picks, if I'm not mistaken. They were a little bit later in the draft as well. So none of those guys that we just named were first round guys.
Was there had to be, especially in the 80s, a running back that went in the first pick? I remember a guy from the Bengals in the 90s, Kajana Carter from Penn State, but I don't remember if he was the first overall pick. That's the only guy I can remember that may have been the first pick overall here, and that was 92, maybe?
Okay, 86, obviously, Bo Jackson.
Bo Jackson was the number 1 overall pick.
Kajana Carter.
That's who I just said.
Yeah, that's who you said, was 95.
95, okay.
And let's see, since 95, no, there has not been. So that would have been the last guy.
Top 5?
Top 5, yes. There's been quite a few.
Quite a few guys.
So, yeah, I mean, but again.
I want to kind of look at that, though. How many top 5, I know the caller talked about it, in the last, let's just say, 10 years? That kind of, because the league is going through waves, and it's kind of waving, it became a passing league, and now it's kind of tilting back going towards, maybe we should run a little bit more than we are running. Not all the way back to the 80s where, you had the best player was always your running back. So the last 10 years, if you've drafted a running back in the top 5, and then how much they've impacted your team, because I think you have to be efficient at running the football to be successful in the National Football League, especially when you get into the playoffs. And I'm not saying just run it downhill every play, but you got to be able to say, hey, we got to help our quarterback and we got to help our offensive line and run the football.
I'm having a hard time. Here we go. This may be able to do it. Trying to find the last
top 5.
So as top 5 would be. So going to see Breece Hall, a guy that everybody kind of wants, was a second round pick. Najee Harris was 24. Clyde's Edward-Helaire back in 2020. So we're going back to Saquon Barkley was the last one in 2018.
What pick?
He was pick 2.
2. Gotcha. He wasn't 1. Okay. 2.
Leonard Fournette was pick 4 in 2017. 2016, Ezekiel Elliott was pick 4.
Oh, okay.
2015, Ty Gurley was 10. And
so Ezekiel Elliott and Saquon is the ones that panned out.
Yeah, because Christian McCaffrey would have been pick 8 in that same draft. If Leonard Fournette went before Christian McCaffrey, which is kind of crazy, by the way. Jacksonville, I think, overthought that one.
Oh, wow. So 2 guys. I mean, really, who've kind of worked out, and they are special players.
Right.
There's some other ones outside of that a little bit in the top 10.
Yeah, Bijan, and then you go Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Todd Gurley would be outside of that.
Gurley was special.
Yeah.
So it's a tough call. Do you recall of those guys in the top 5, Ezekiel Elliott, the Cowboys have a losing record? Or no, they just took the best player available?
Ooh, I don't think so.
Yeah, because I just don't remember them being bad like that. So how did they get that pick? So but they were, man. This is why I do not, I would not envy those GMs.
Yeah, Genty, someone brings up Genty, but he was picked 7 last year.
Yeah.
So we're talking top 5. So Ezekiel,
Ricky Williams, but that's not over the last 10 years.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
So Dallas in 2015, they were 4-12.
Oh.
So they were 4-12. And then they were 13-3 after they drafted Ezekiel Elliott. Now, there's probably a lot more that goes into those 2 seasons besides Ezekiel Elliott. I don't think he's responsible for a 9-win swing around. Looks like Tony Romo got injured that year, and they ended up with Matt Castle, who went 1-6. Kellen Moore went 0-2, and Brandon Weeden went 0-3. So Tony Romo started out the season 3-1, and so that following year, that's the year they not only did they draft Ezekiel Elliott, but they also drafted Dak Prescott. So that was the same draft, really bang up draft for Jason Garrett and crew and all them and that. So that would be the biggest reason for the jump in wins is quarterback play, on top of getting a few of these other guys in the building as well.
So that leads you to say that the Titans, based off of history, probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right? Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that, especially if they leave glaring holes, which I hope that they don't, and they are in a position to not do it.
Yeah, you always want to be in the position that you can take the best player available.
Because the Falcons didn't. They weren't really in position to do that when they drafted Bijan Robinson. And I think you could argue that their Raiders the last 2 years, drafting Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty, weren't in position to go best player available.
And they did.
And they did. Yeah. And look at how that turned out. So I think there are good examples where teams fail to address their holes and their roster deficiencies in free agency, turn around and draft best player available. And those guys, while they're very talented, they are one guy at tight end in Brock Bowers, one guy at running back in Ashton Genty, which aren't premium positions that your team wasn't really in position to be drafted. Like the Detroit Lions, when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, now listen, that was like, pick 17 or something like that. They drafted him, a tight end, and a linebacker in that draft. But they were in position because they have filled other holes over the years. And that's when you do it. To your point, you said it right off the rip. If this was a different time and a different team, you could probably go ahead and say right now, you have to take Jeremiah Love. But right now, you're not in that position to do that. And let's take a look at some of the free agents when we come back that the Tennessee Titans either have a connection to or could probably fill up some holes where maybe you can take best player available. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
There are a lot of things Americans split 50-50 on. Politics, working from home versus the office, or coffee versus tea. But there's one thing we all agree on. Hey, it's Blaine Bishop. Taking your car in for repairs can be complicated. Your repair is only as good as the person under the hood working on your vehicle. And most of the problems in fixing your vehicle is knowledge issue, not someone trying to rip you the freak off, right? Yes, and a lot of techs are not properly trained. So they end up guessing what to do, and that causes delays in getting your vehicle back or repeat visits for the same freaking issue. For around a quarter century, let's say, Eurofix has done things differently. Every visit starts with a free 15-minute no-rinse inspection so you know what's going on before we start the work. And Eurofix pays its technicians more than any other company does to attract the best and the brightest talent around. And Eurofix still fixes European vehicles at below dealer pricing with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available as well. Locally owned, family run, with 5 locations and more to come. And all you have to do is just go online and check them out at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Something I thought about over at during the break. I mentioned cornerbacks, edge rush, or pass rushers for the Atlanta Falcons, but they also needed wide receivers because remember, 2022 is when they drafted Desmond Ridder. They're going in with him as the starter. In 2022, they already had Drake London, but the other wide receivers were Matt Collins, Cotterell Hodge, Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson, and Damiere Byrd. They could have drafted also, now this is revisionist history, but Jackson Smith and Jigba, a player at a premium position. They could have drafted to help on defense, Christian Gonzalez, a guy that plays a premium position at cornerback, probably one of the best players of the Super Bowl. They could have had Jalen Carter line up next to McCoy on the defensive line to generate some pass rush. So like those kinds of building up the trenches. But it gets to the point where you're looking at your board, and Bijan Robinson probably was the cleanest prospect outside of maybe Will Anderson in that draft, who went third overall. So if he has a grade, let's say that they do a grading system of 9, and he's an 8.7, and they have all these other guys that are at premium positions, a 7.9, well, that's a pretty big difference in the grading system, even though it may not sound like it. That's a pretty big difference in the grading system. Now, they went best player available. Same thing like we talked about Brock Bowers, Ashton Jeanty, and all that kind of stuff. But it's about the timeline of your roster. Even if Bijan Robinson technically does help a young quarterback because he is an explosive playmaker, it obviously did not improve the overall roster, and they're still kind of chasing some of these positions draft after draft after draft. So it's a real hard to balance. I mean, it's a balance. Yeah. It's a balancing game. Again, there's no right way, wrong way to do it, but this just goes to show you how much roster building plays into from free agency to the draft to undrafted free agency to what you do over the summer to trades. Like all this is interconnected, and that really is why free agency comes first. It's not the draft first. Free agency comes first. Mm-hmm. And that's why, to me, that's where you can plug up a lot of your holes if you're the Tennessee Titans or any NFL team.
Well, what position is the best in free agency as a group? Well, and I'm looking at from the Titans. I'm talking about edge, wide receiver, and cornerback. Because those are the same things they're going to have issues in the draft. And then you say, okay, where is it big in the draft versus free agency? And we can compensate doing the opposite, if it's free agency is weak or if the draft is weak in this.
Well, I think that if you were balancing those three positions, like you said, because those are the three biggest needs for the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. Defensive end, pass rusher, wide receiver, and cornerback. I believe in looking at the free agents, and I looked at about 196 free agents over this time. I went through, I did this. I went to a bunch of different lists, got their top 150, top 250, and kind of put together a big old list. Oh. And edge and defensive end is deep in this class and free agency. It's also deep in the draft.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So there is and cornerback is fairly deep with high-end talent in free agency, and it's also pretty deep in the draft. Where it is different is wide receiver. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think, now listen, there's going to be guys that get cut, right? Like I believe in my heart and soul, Alec Pierce is going to be an Indianapolis Colt with the new contract. Doesn't mean they have to, but it may mean likely they cut Michael Pittman. And if they cut Michael Pittman, okay, Michael Pittman is available for you to go out there and get if you're the Tennessee Titans. But when you start looking at wide receiver, there's a huge drop-off. Most people expect George Pickens stays in Dallas. Mike Evans, are you really going to take a chance on Mike Evans if you're this stage of the Tennessee Titans? And is he really going to want to come here as well? Now, you may be able to lure him with lots of money, but are you really wanting to pay an $18 or $19 million one-year contract to Mike Evans to come here for 1 year? I mean, I wouldn't at this stage of the roster. Maybe you look at a guy like Juwan Jennings. But Juwan Jennings, I think, doesn't solve anything. And now you got to keep Calvin Ridley, and that's my big thing, and your big thing too, is like right now the Tennessee Titans need 2 wide receivers. If they cut Calvin Ridley, they need 3 wide receivers. This isn't the free agency class to go and really find those guys, to find at least 3 guys. You may be able to find 1 guy in this free agency class. And you'll likely be able to only find 1 guy in the draft based on how the draft may shape out. So for me, I kind of look at it and I go, I think there is a path to fill the holes on this defense in both free agency and the draft to where the defense is going to be a little bit better talent-wise than the offense this year and heading into 2026. But I think the offense will make enough progress under Brian Daboll to kind of be able to still play complementary football.
Yeah, I think this one here is going to be interesting because I wonder how elite do they think the pass rushers are coming out in the draft. Because if they have them on the elite level, that means instant guy come in, that means 8 to more sacks in a game. Or do you look at free agency and you look at, Trey, Phillips, Mafia, Olaway, Pay? You can kind of double down. You can do both. You could take one of each, especially if economically, if you go with, let's say, Pay, you could pay him, $12 to $15 million at 27 years old. And then you go take Bain. Or do you take the approach, no, we want the elite receiver. And you say, well, the number 1 receiver on our board is Tate. We are going to take Tate at 4 because we are not going to be in the game of chasing free agency at the receiver position. We'll go with double down. And then in the second round, there's a good group of pass rushers that we can look for. And then we double down with whatever, let's just say Pay, we got Femi, and then we got Tate, and then all of a sudden now we got one of these guys in the second round. And then all of a sudden you have a group nucleus there. And then you say, okay, how are you addressing things at cornerback? Say, I can go sign one free agent. Naturally, I'm Taylor from Tennessee. I think he's number 1. Maybe I'll go, if I want to be a little more economical. He's only 27, by the way. I would go Wolin or someone of that ilk. There's Newsome out there. There's some other guys out there. And then you also draft a corner. That could be another option in the second round. And you're not pressed to get another pass rusher because you got Femi who you're developing. So I think you want to be able to have people guessing a little bit, at least at what position you may take.
And that also generates a little bit of trade interest. I know people think that, you can only trade up for a quarterback, but like of the last 10 drafts or something, there's been 24 non-quarterback trade-ups in the first round. Mm-hmm. It's something crazy like that. So, it doesn't just have to be a quarterback. Some team may love Caleb Downs to trade up for him. Mm-hmm. A team like the Chiefs, who are in a position to draft a running back at 9 with their roster, who may want to trade up and get Jeremiah Love right off the rip. Mm-hmm. And so you are, to your point, keeping them guessing and generating maybe interest and trade value in your pick.
This is going to be an interesting because you're going to see what teams covet a little bit more and have them ranked higher on their board. And then this may also be a year where you trade in free agency.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people saying that's kind of what route is going this year. And I'm interested to see that and how much value you get with those picks of players traded. So, yeah, this is maybe one of the more exciting, free agent periods in that there also may be trades.
Right. Mm-hmm. So a few names I think that we should have on our radar. You mentioned one of them just a few minutes ago, Kwity Paye, who we did talk about a couple of days ago about his relationship with Gus Bradley, right? He's played in Gus Bradley's system, and his best 2 years were in Gus Bradley's system. And Gus Bradley's system is obviously very similar to the system we have here in Tennessee now. Another guy who's been at Green Bay, who Chad Brinker would have some kind of relationship with, would be a guy that's not really known by a lot of people, Kingsley Enagbare, who was a guy that was drafted a couple of seasons ago, but he's a rotational guy. He's like a younger version of maybe a Jihad Ward or a younger version of an Arden Key. When you have those two guys with then Femi Oladejo, Jeffrey Simmons, maybe a John Franklin Myers, who is a defensive lineman that has ties to both Robert Saleh and Aaron White-Cotton. You know, they played or they coached him in New York. And then Tavondre Sweat, like you can kind of fix the defensive line in free agency. Now that's a lot of things have to fall your way because you can't guarantee that those guys are going to sign. But if you walked away from the free agency with those three guys off the rip, you're kind of looking at your defensive line room and you're thinking, okay, now we got Femi, we got Jalen Harrell, and we can maybe work with this group, and maybe we still get a Sebastian Joseph Day on the back end as well. Maybe we still go after a Jihad Ward. And then maybe you're looking at going into the draft, you're saying, okay, now we don't have these guys ranked as high, so now we're not in a position where we have to take them. And when you're in a position that you have to draft someone, that's just as bad at some instances going best player available when your roster's not ready for best player available.
Mm-hmm. I also think it's very important with, you're building the foundation of last year's draft that you kind of, I'm not going to say stay young, but you don't want to get up and maybe that's why you don't sign like a Trey Hendrickson or someone that's over 30 because it kind of just doesn't mix in the locker room unless paying some astronomical number and you just know you want that kind of player in the locker room based off his performance.
You could get three players for Trey Hendrickson price, more than likely.
I think he's trying to pay around the $25 million. So I'm looking at the just good, solid players. You're talking about 12 to 15 pass rusher, and I don't know what's the market would be for the elite corners here. You got the Dean kid from Tampa Bay. You got Watson, right, from Tampa Bay too as well, right? Or both of them. You got Taylor, Wolin. Man, those numbers for corners, and then you can just draft one maybe in the second round or third.
So looking at Alontae Taylor, Jalen Watson, Tariq Woolen, Jamil Dean, those would be the top four. And a lot of people love this Deshaun Wright guy from Chicago as well.
Right, yeah, he's long, 26.
So if you take the average of kind of where their contract range has been, they're about all 14 to 16 million per year.
I'd take that all day.
I would take all of them. Like, give me all of them at that point. You got the cap space to do it, right? So, like, again, it's a lot to me, much easier if I were looking at it from a contract perspective, from this idea of, affordability, reliability, and production, trying to look at all those things, that we can kind of see. We can kind of know the range. We know how healthy they've been. We know if they had production. I feel like defense should be very, at least in free agency, I would be very defense heavy. Now, that may leave some holes on offense, but I don't think the holes on the offense are as glaring and as many as what they are on defense right now. Because if you really think about it, you may need a third off-ball linebacker. You definitely need two defensive pass rushers or defensive ends.
Tell us what you mean by off-ball linebacker.
Well, like I would say Cedric Gray is how I'd kind of view it. Like an inside linebacker, but not an outside linebacker. If that makes like a weak side linebacker, strong side linebacker, inside linebacker, if that makes sense. Yeah. Is that right? Am I right on that?
Yeah,
that's what I thought. Yeah. Okay, just making sure.
When I hear off-ball linebacker, I think maybe 3-4 scheme pass rusher guy standing up. That's why when you say off-ball,
probably
4-3.
Yeah.
You just say weak side, strong side. That's exactly where it go.
Probably. It's hard to project because I don't know what Cedric Gray, Cody Barton, James Williams, like I know what Cedric Gray is, but how much can he improve in coverage? And how much does that improvement in coverage help you maybe in other places? Like, I guess linebacker to me is still kind of a sneaky need. I guess that linebacking room needs some more bodies into it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, but the right body. I mean, to their system is game. I mean, man,
See, that's
we have nobody like Warner, and I mean, I get
Yeah.
it. Nobody really has a guy like that, but we even close to that. So that's tough. Like, man, where are we going to get that kind of production?
I would say that. Listen, maybe my hottest take probably for this upcoming free agency is that I would throw the bag at Devin Lloyd.
I'm the one who said that first.
I know, but
you didn't want to give me. I said this guy. So he was first rounder, so that's a guy that has talent. I just don't know if you want to do that this first year.
I know, but that's
happen?
why it's a hot take because I think I would do it. I think I would throw the bag.
What are you doing with Gray?
I mean, can they not? They coexist on the same.
So
like
what
I would have
with Cody Barton.
Oh God, Cody Barton gone in my mind. Hey, listen, if you want Cody Barton, I think his younger brother is in this draft class, so just go draft him. I think so.
Oh my, yeah, Devin Lloyd's a pretty athletic, and he's shown he can cover. I said that probably a couple weeks ago.
Lander Barton for the Utah Utes.
Oh, the Utes. The Utes got some players. They got these 2 offensive tackles.
Yeah, they got some players.
You're talking about first round,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Good Lord.
So, I mean, and also maybe you can find someone a linebacker in the draft, but that's also asking a lot for a rookie linebacker to step in and be whatever you may be drafting him to be in this particular thing. But, like, I mean, Cody Barton, for me, is not on this team in 2026. I guess. I mean, I guess as a depth piece, but like as factoring him, now he may not want to be a depth piece. Like $5 million, $6 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Something crazy, nothing big or anything like that.
All right. Yeah, I thought he was like double digit, like 10. I didn't know. I couldn't recall.
He signed a $7 million per year contract.
Oh, 7. Okay.
And he's getting paid. His cap hit's 8.2, but I think he's only getting paid like $5 million or something like that. 6.5 in cash. So
he's just like Paolo, so you could draft Love.
Yeah. You could draft Sonny Styles if you wanted. But like, I guess I would say that Cody Barton's not a piece that I'm looking to actively push him down the depth chart in some form or fashion. I mean, he could stick around if we can't find guys. And listen, it's not a great inside linebacker free agency class. Leo Chenal, who played over at Kansas City, who was drafted while Mike Bergonzi was there. I'm trying to not say drafted by Mike Bergonzi, but he was drafted while Mike Bergonzi was there. He's a guy. Quay Walker seems like his market's down. Green Bay Packers inside linebacker. That Brinker was around when he got drafted. So like, there's a couple of guys here with a little bit of 4-3 experience as well, but have ties there. But I would throw the bag at Devin Lloyd. Like I know that sounds crazy, and I know that you because you brought him up earlier in the year or earlier this week or last week. But like I would right now,
what would that cost? What would that be?
$18.3 million per year, close to $20 million per year. But I think that you're getting a player that is now hitting the high point of his career. You're not coming in late to the game. Mm-hmm. He's not a guy that peaked, 7 years into his career. He's peaked now after being drafted a few years ago. So, like, to me, this is a guy that you're buying high on now. And I would do it. I think I would do it. And I know that's crazy, but I think this defense and free agency can be pretty the players you're finding on defensive free agency could be impactful right away for this team.
How does he compare to Quay Walker?
He's better than Quay Walker. I would say that. But I would say that the difference in money is about $10 million per year, which you got over $100 million of cap space. That may not matter, but maybe the cash does. Because sometimes with these owners, cash matters more than cap. How much cash you got on hand to spend. So, I mean, but if you walked away with maybe Leo Chenal and...
what I'm thinking is if they go after, Devin Lloyd, they come up short.
Okay.
Is Quay Walker in free agency somewhat a poor man's of what you're looking for?
I think so. I think you could put it that way. Quay Walker, Quincy Williams is still out there. Now, he's
smallish.
Yes, him and Cedric Gray seem a little bit more similar to me, but you can need two of them, right? Like, I mean, not a big deal, and he has a work relation. But Quincy Williams, he's about a $9 million guy. Like I said earlier, Quay Walker, 8.4.
Didn't he lose his starting job?
Mm-hmm. I don't know what happened in that situation up there in New York after that all went down.
With Aaron Glenn.
I don't know. Leo Chenal, like I said, there's another. Then you have the older guys on this list, like Bobby Wagner, Levante David, Demario Davis, but those are 1-year rental guys. Mm-hmm. And do they really solve the issues that you need to be solved? Mm-hmm. An interesting name I would throw out there is Caden Ellis, who has kind of been a free agent a couple of different times, but every time he gets signed, and he's been specifically with the Atlanta Falcons, he's been pretty good. I like some Caden
Nobody
Ellis.
In connection at linebacker anywhere with the staff, with Gus or
Quincy Williams.
Quincy Williams, the only one though.
Quincy Williams, Willie Gay, and Leo Chenal would not. Well, the coaching staff specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be different. That would just be Quincy Williams. Yeah, everybody else has a front office connection, but not a coaching staff connection. All right, we'll get to your phones when we come back. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, 615-737-1045. DeMario, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
This DeMario Davis. You trying to come to the Titans?
It's DeMario Patterson. I wish they paid me.
Oh, man.
But yeah, I was just calling to comment on the linebacker conversation. I'm pretty familiar with the Seahawks. I've talked about it on other shows. My friend played for the Seahawks for some years, but I was looking at like Bobby is coming in, but with this new 4-3, just want to see what y'all thought about it. I know Bobby mostly played Mike when he was with Seattle, but I was kind of looking at Cedric Gray. I see as our Mike. If we were to use Cody, maybe Cody might need to make a move to wheel linebacker, but I actually see, and I heard TD mention this, this is a good opportunity for Williams to try to step in at that weak side wheel linebacker. A little bit, maybe can go out and cover it a little bit, having that safety background. But also I look at Femi. Femi's not an edge player in my mind in this defense. He can be your Sam. Reason why, he's still on your edge. He can set the edge, maybe drop, play curl flats and stuff like that. But that's kind of how I view our linebacker right now, because really Femi is the one we need to look at as possibly being that starting Sam. He's played off ball, or Mike, at UCLA. Now you kind of put him in a position where he can kind of play in space. We don't have to rack our brains. It's like, okay, is he going to ever become a pass rusher? And like now allow him to kind of play more of like a hybrid role, edge setter, dropping the flats, curls, maybe give you a little pressure here and there, but just wanted to see what you thought about that.
Thanks, DeMario. What are your thoughts on that? Because we were kind of talking off the break, the Sam and the Will and where all these guys kind of fit and what you could do. And it's almost like you start talking through it and you're kind of like, man, like you said, they may have to revamp this whole linebacker room.
Man, and you don't want to try to do that. At least
try to make it work with the pieces you got.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I don't really know. That's a tough one there, because I just the wheel. I like his idea about Williams and Wheel. I've said that before because they're more athletic and they can run. So
former safety,
he can run. The Femi one is a tough one for me. I just don't know if he.
I think that's putting too much responsibility, play diagnosing wise, on Femi than just having him do what his body type kind of allows him to do, which is C player, attack player.
Yeah, but they do have bigger Sam. That's what I said before during the break, that the Sam guys is really for the strong side. So you're always lined up on the strong side. So they do want a bigger type. But usually those guys are bigger and can run. I don't view Femi as just an athletic runner type like that. He did in college, but
he has a good.
You could see it in pass rushing. He didn't have that. He had a good get off, and then that was it.
Well, and I think he's also, there's a part to it where you go back and watch the tape. It's like he doesn't, and specifically the college tape, the same stuff we saw in college tape showed up in his tape here, is that like he's a little slow to diagnose what's going on and where the ball's at. And I know that speed of the game, but that was the way it was in college too. And then you can make the excuse if you want and say, well, it's because he switched positions. And maybe that's true. And maybe he just needs to get comfortable seeing the field from a different perspective. But now you're going to switch him back to a position that the UCLA defense said that that's not the position for him. He needs to go back to hand in the dirt. Like, that's a lot of moving parts, and I understand there's going to be moving parts when you're switching schemes. But also, if you're trying to put players in the best position to succeed, you're not putting Femi in the best position to succeed by putting him at a Sam linebacker, in my opinion.
Yeah, not in international football. I think we just need to let him see if he can develop as a pass rusher.
Because that's what he's been kind of working around with the idea that that's what he's going to be. And listen, his best asset is probably his blend of strength and speed. But that really is only an asset with his size and his maybe robotic movements at the defensive end position, not really at the linebacker position where you got to be reactionary and fluid. That'd be how I'd view it. So I don't know.
I said that last week. Yeah. He was robotic, and it's just that I don't see it at linebacker. Now, I don't see the foot speed, the quickness. I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. All right, that will do it for us. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. 3HL's up next. And in the meantime.
And in between time.
Peace.